Es de Víctor. Aquí. Uno, dos, tres. Buenos días, bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Probando audio. Uno, dos, tres. ¿Más? ¿Más? ¿Fuerte? ¿Así está bien? Buenos días, bienvenidas y bienvenidos. Hola. Uno, dos, tres. Probando audio. Estamos así. Buenos días, bienvenidos y bienvenidas.
Bueno, sí, Vic, bueno, probando audio, dos. Probando audio, dos. Vale.
Buenos días, tengan todas y todos ustedes. Bienvenidos a la inauguración del Simposio Internacional de Luciérnagas, edición 2025.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the opening ceremony of the International Symposium of Fireflies in the 2025 edition.
Esta mañana me permito presentar a las autoridades que nos acompañan.
We'll start introducing the authorities that are with us this morning.
Recibimos la presencia del doctor Christopher Grassley, presidente de la Red Internacional de Observadores de Luciérnagas.
We welcome Dr. Christopher Grassley, president of the International Net of Firefly Observers.
Es un gusto saludar al doctor Serafín Ortiz Ortiz, rector de la Universidad Autónoma de Tlaxcala.
It is a pleasure to welcome Dr. Serafín Ortiz Ortiz, rector of the Autonomous University of Tlaxcala.
Damos la más cordial bienvenida a la doctora Cistey Inum Pérez Hernández, representante de la Red Internacional de Observadores de Luciérnagas en México y coordinadora de la organización del Simposio Internacional de Luciérnagas 2025.
We also welcome Dr. Asistel Sinum Pérez Hernández, who is the representative of the International Net Observers of Fireflies in Mexico, and also the coordinator of the organization of this International Symposium of Fireflies.
Es un placer recibir a la doctora Sarah Lewis, profesora emérita de Biología, Tufts University, Estados Unidos, copresidenta del Grupo de Especialistas en Luciérnagas de la Comisión de Supervivencia de las Especies, de la Unión Internacional para la Conservación de la Naturaleza y miembro fundador de la Fireflies International Network.
We also welcome Dr. Sarah Lewis, professor Emeritus of Biology in the Tufts University in the United States.
También saludamos a la doctora Margarita Martínez Gómez, secretaria de Investigación Científica y Posgrado.
We also welcome Dr. Margarita Martínez Gómez, who is the Secretary of Scientific Research and Postgrade.
De igual forma, saludamos al doctor Hipólito Muñoz Nava, director de la Facultad de Agrobiología.
We also welcome Dr. Hipólito Muñoz Nava, Director of the Agrobiology Faculty.
También les damos la más cordial bienvenida a secretarios, coordinadores y coordinadoras de división, directores y directoras de las diferentes facultades y unidades académicas multidisciplinarias de la Universidad Autónoma de Tlaxcala.
We also welcome secretaries, coordinators, and division coordinators, directors from the different faculties and multidisciplinary academic units.
Sean todos bienvenidos. Le pedimos muy atentamente al doctor Serafín Ortiz Ortiz, rector de la Universidad Autónoma de Tlaxcala, nos dirija unas palabras de bienvenida.
We kindly ask to Dr. Serafín Ortiz to give us some words.
Muy buenos días, tengan todas y todos los asistentes.
Welcome, everybody.
Es para mí un honor esta mañana acudir a este evento que en Tlaxcala me parece que era esperado que se reunieran aquí en nuestro estado y particularmente en nuestra universidad, investigadores e investigadoras internacionales.
It is a pleasure to welcome to Tlaxcala because this event was long expected due to the activities that are developed from different researchers.
Muchas gracias por su presencia. Ustedes están hoy en uno de los estados en donde hay todavía niveles aceptables de convivencia humana, de paz social.
We welcome to Tlaxcala, which is a state where there are some environments of peace and social okay. Convivencia.
Sí.
Yes.
Quiero saludar la muy grata presencia del doctor Christopher Grassley, que está en el presidium. Saludo la presencia muy grata de la doctora Sisteli Sinún Pérez Hernández, que nos acompaña, de la doctora Sara Lewis, que está con nosotros, de la doctora Margarita Martínez y del señor director don Hipólito Muñoz Nava. Gracias. Sin duda, tengo aquí algunas notas que me han presentado y el tema central tiene que ver con la conservación y divulgación de la extraordinaria diversidad de luciérnagas y otros animalitos de esta naturaleza.
Well, for the first time in the history, the International Symposium is held in Tlaxcala, where still we can see the presence of fireflies and other species related to them.
Quiero también decirles que estoy verdaderamente interesado en que desde nuestra universidad se lleven a cabo eventos de esta naturaleza, porque escuchamos la opinión de muchos investigadores e investigadoras de otros países que sin duda nos van a permitir posicionar a nuestro santuario de la luciérnaga desde Tlaxcala. Hoy es frecuentemente visitado por el turismo nacional y ahora me doy cuenta que también por el internacional.
I am very interested in the developing of these kinds of events where some species can be recognized and can be discussed among different researchers, international researchers. Of course, having in mind that there is in Tlaxcala a sanctuary of fireflies, that's why it is important to celebrate these kind of events.
Pues muchas gracias. Tengo entendido que desde el domingo han estado aquí conociendo nuestro espacio donde están las luciérnagas en Nanacamilpa, Tlaxcala. Y desde luego también sé que este evento concluirá el 1 de agosto. Yo deseo que sea muy exitoso y deseo también que nuestra representante en México nos impulse para que sigamos nosotros preservando este santuario que sin duda permite que Tlaxcala sea novedad, sea un punto de referencia en este asunto en México.
I know that you have been working since last Sunday in Nanacamilpa, where you can see the fireflies, and also welcome you to continue working, and also in the name of the Mexican representative to continue working in this place.
Gracias. Ahora a continuación daré la palabra al doctor Christopher Krashley para que proceda a la inauguración. Muchas gracias. Que tengan buen día.
We ask Dr. Wesley to... No, permítame. Vamos con la doctora. Okay. Well, now Christopher Craftley will celebrate the opening of this event.
Muchas gracias. Bienvenidos a todos, bienvenidos a Tlaxcala. Tengo mucha felicidad de estar aquí con tantos amigos míos y tantos amigos de las luciérnagas. And now I will stop trying to speak in Spanish and switch over to English, my native tongue, in order to also welcome everybody here and thank everybody for being here.
Okay, le da la bienvenida, saluda a todos y bueno, pues manifiesta que está muy contento de estar entre tantos amigos propios y de las luciérnagas y bueno, pues.
I want to especially thank everyone here in Mexico who was responsible for organizing this wonderful gathering of firefly experts and enthusiasts from around the world.
También quiero agradecer por la oportunidad de celebrar este evento y bueno, por las actividades que se van a desarrollar relacionadas a las luciérnagas.
I also want to acknowledge the hard work of the steering committee of the Firefly International Network. I got a little bit of a promotion here to Presidente. I'm just the chair of a steering committee that has been working, for the last 3 years, not just on helping to guide putting together this organization. So if I would welcome anybody who is on the steering committee who's here today to please stand up and be recognized. I see you, Rafa and Juan and
Quiero reconocer a
Vor,
los que han participado
Cecile,
en la realización de este evento. Si se ponen de pie, por
Anchana.
favor.
Thank you, everybody. But of course, as I said before, the real hard work has been done by our hosts here in Mexico. Y muchas gracias. And with that, I think I was said maybe only 2 minutes. So I think it's time to open the ceremonies. Thank you all for coming. Welcome.
Quiero reconocer el trabajo que he realizado en la organización y bueno, pues va a realizar la inauguración de este evento.
Agradecemos la intervención del doctor Christopher Crust. En estos momentos se retira el doctor Serafín Ortiz Ortiz por cuestiones de agenda. En un momento continuamos con nuestro protocolo. Ahora le pedimos muy amablemente a la doctora Sistel Ginún Pérez Hernández, representante de la Red Internacional de Observadores de Luciérnagas en México y coordinadora de la organización del Simposio Internacional de Luciérnagas 2025.
Now we ask to Dr. Sistel Sinum Perez Hernandez, who is the representative of the International Net of Observers, Firefly Observers in Mexico, and also the coordinator of the organization of this International Symposium of Fireflies 2025.
Queridas amigas y amigos especialistas de luciérnagas,
Dear friends, specialists in fireflies,
queridos estudiantes, profesores y personas que nos visitan para celebrar esta magna reunión.
also dear friends, professors, and people that are visiting us to celebrate this reunion.
A nombre del comité organizador y del mío propio, les doy la más cordial bienvenida a México, a Tlaxcala y al Simposio Internacional de Luciérnagas 2025.
In the name of the organization committee and mine, I welcome you to Mexico, Tlaxcala, and the International Symposium of Fireflies 2025.
Hace 3 años, en Portugal, México fue elegido sede de la reunión académica más importante de especialistas en estos seres bioluminiscentes.
3 years ago, while in Portugal, Mexico was chosen as the place for the academic reunion most important of specialists in these bioluminescent beings.
Una de las razones por la que la comunidad mexicana de Fireflyers celebró la noticia fue porque nuestro país tiene una larga historia en el estudio de los lampíridos.
One of the reasons, because the Mexican community of fireflyers celebrated this news was because our country has a long history in the study of these lampyrids.
A través de casi 50 años de experiencia del doctor Santiago Zaragoza, quien desde la Colección Nacional de Insectos de la Universidad Nacional Autónoma de México descubrió, identificó y nombró casi 60% de las especies de luciérnagas descritas en nuestro país.
Through 50 years of experience by Dr. Santiago Zaragoza Caballero, who started the National Collections of Insects in the National Autonomous University of Mexico, he discovered, identified, and named almost 60% of the species of fireflies that had been described in Mexico.
Entre ellas, a la luciérnaga de Nanacamilpa, Photinus palaciosi.
Among them, the Nanacamilpa firefly, Potinus palaciosi.
Hoy, México se considera un hotspot de diversidad de luciérnagas con más de 300 especies.
Today, Mexico is considered a diversity hotspot of fireflies with more than 300 species.
En este evento tendremos muchos encuentros, se formarán amistades y colaboraciones internacionales para la investigación, además de las que ya se formaron a lo largo de los 3 años de organización.
In this event, we will have many meetings, new friendship will be celebrated, and collaborations among international people through the research, besides the ones that have been celebrated along 3 years of organization.
Por eso, aprovecho para agradecer a mi querida colega y amiga, doctora Sandra García de Jesús, de la Facultad de Agrobiología de esta universidad, y a todo su equipo por aceptar este reto y abrirnos las puertas de la universidad y de Tlaxcala. Muchas gracias.
For this reason, I want to thank to my dear colleague and friend, Dr. Sandra Garcia de Jesus from the Agrobiology faculty in this university, and all her team for accepting this challenge and opening the doors of the university and Tlaxcala. Thank you very much.
También agradezco a la Fireflies International Network por inspirar esta magna reunión, así como a todas las universidades e instituciones que nos apoyaron, y al Fondo de Conservación del Eje Neovolcánico por su apoyo invaluable.
Also, I want to thank to the Fireflies International Network for inspiring this reunion, as well as all the universities and institutions that have given some support. Also to the Fund of Conservation of the Neovolcanic for their support, their valuable support.
Y como dije alguna vez, hoy vinimos a hablar por las luciérnagas y su conservación. Bienvenidos.
As I said before, today we came to talk about the fireflies and its conservation. Welcome, everybody.
Agradecemos la asistencia de todas y todos ustedes, deseando mucho éxito en este Simposio Internacional de Luciérnagas edición 2025. Buen día.
Thank you for being here, everybody, and wish you a great success in this International Symposium of Fireflies edition 2025. Good morning and good luck.
Muchas gracias. Si es que quisieran hacérsela a las personas de aquí del panel. Si no es así, podemos entonces dar por terminado el evento. Muchas gracias.
Well, this is our first plenary talk, so I'm really glad to have here Dr. Juan Yuso and also Dr. Sarah Lewis. I'm really happy, and I know you are also happy. And let me introduce their talk. Dr. Sarah Lewis follows her academic training at Harvard College and Duke University. She joined Tufts University as a professor in biology in the 90s. Her lab's research focused on insect courtship behavior and sexual selection, and included work on firefly flash communication, nuptial gifts, and the impacts of light pollution. In addition to publishing over 100 of scientific articles, she also gave a TED Talk and wrote Silent Sparks, The Wondrous World of Fireflies, a science book aimed at the general public. In 2023, she retired from teaching to devote more time to global firefly conservation as co-chair of the IUCN Firefly Specialist Group. Dr. Juan Yuso is currently a senior lecturer in biodiversity and conservation and the honors program director in Malaysia at the School of Science, Monash University, Malaysia. Her lab research explores the intersection of biodiversity and the historical aspects of natural heritage, with a focus on the taxonomy and ecology of flashing fireflies. Prior to her role at Monash University, she was a research fellow at the National University of Singapore and worked as a conservation biologist with the WWF Malaysia. Since 2022, she has had the privilege of co-chairing the IUCN Firefly Specialist Group with Sarah Lewis, and serving as a member of the Fin Steering Committee, where she represents the Australia-Pacific region. She also gave a TED Talk and was recently honored as one of the Explorers Club 50 honorees for the class of 2025. Please welcome her and we can begin this meeting.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Buenos dias. Juan and I are thrilled to be here with you and to share with you this update on global firefly conservation. But before we begin, I want to express my heartfelt thanks to our hosts here at the Universidad de Tlaxcala and to all the organizers of this exciting symposium. It really is truly a gift to be here in Mexico, where it's a country with such extraordinary biodiversity and cultural richness. Bringing together so many firefly researchers, conservationists, and storytellers from all around the world. This is a remarkable achievement. So thank you for creating this collaborative space where we can deepen our knowledge about these remarkable creatures and where we can learn how to protect them. And thank you for welcoming us so warmly and for lighting our way. Muchas gracias a todos. Okay, so I'm guessing that everyone here today is familiar with these spectacular insects. And over the next few days, we're going to be learning lots of new discoveries about firefly ecology, taxonomy, genetics, evolution, and behavior. And yet, we also recognize that we can't take for granted fireflies because hey Juan, how about if I do this? Gracias. The firefly's light, how easily it goes on, how easily it goes off again. This Japanese haiku was written 350 years ago, yet it's still relevant today because in many parts of the world, firefly populations are fading out. Yet fireflies also represent hope. And as we'll be describing in our talk, there are lots of people who are dedicated to protecting these luminous creatures for future generations. Now, as my family will tell you, I am really lousy at history. But I do want to take a short look backwards to 2017, where the International Firefly Symposium was held in Taipei, Taiwan. Something remarkable happened there. As we all know, part of the magic of fireflies is how they bring together culture and science and art. And in 2017, not that long ago, these seeds took root and a beautiful thing emerged. Actually, two things. Fireflies International Network and the IUCN Firefly Specialist Group. Now, you might be wondering, what are these organizations and how are they related? De verdad, it's very confusing. So I'm going to start with FIN, which is an organization dedicated to firefly research, for example, including working with host committees to help organize the International Firefly Symposium every 3 years. FIN also coordinates outreach like World Firefly Day and other activities that are aimed at educating the public about fireflies. On the other hand, the IUCN Firefly Specialist Group focuses on conservation, specifically on red list assessments, on conservation planning, and on conservation action. Okay, so what is this IUCN? It stands for the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. And in particular, we are part of a group called the Species Survival Commission, or SSC. And this SSC consists of a group of more than 10,000 volunteer experts, all working together to conserve Earth's biodiversity, and including now fireflies. So our group has about 54 volunteer scientists and conservationists. Juan and I co-chair this group, and the group is also led by Anna Walker, our project manager, and Bor Ye, our Red List coordinator. We take as our mission to communicate about firefly diversity, life cycles, and threats, to identify and prioritize those firefly species that are facing the highest extinction risk, and to okay, and also to take action to work with partners at the national and local levels to work to conserve those threatened species. Okay, everything we do is a team effort. So at the outset, I want to thank and acknowledge our hardworking regional coordinators. These are Firefly experts from around the world who volunteer their time and expertise to do Firefly conservation. Many of them are here today. And so when you see them, please give them a great big hug. We also have an ACE communication team we're very lucky to have. This includes both visual storytelling specialists and social media coordinators. And these folks weave together art and storytelling to engage wider audiences. And so again, big thanks to this entire team. Okay, so what has this Firefly specialist group been doing? Our main work centers on going around this species conservation cycle. But I'd like to start first with two important sidelights, which are networking and communication. So, in terms of networking, we have relied on a network of partners around the world who have helped us in so many ways. They have provided our members with training. They've helped us write red list assessments, which I'll talk about in a moment. They've given us funding. They've helped us with conservation planning. We are incredibly lucky and grateful to be working with each of these groups. So a big thank you to them. Aw, cute, clapping. Okay, so on to communication. Early on in 2020, FSG members, including many people here, got together and we published this article summarizing the major threats that fireflies are facing. And we found that the top 3 threats were pretty much consistent across many different geographic regions. And so we've been working hard to get the word out about these global threats. And these include the loss and degradation of suitable habitat for all of the life stages of fireflies, the rapid growth of light pollution that's happening in many parts of the world, and the overuse of pesticides that contaminate our soil and our water. We also have worked on getting the word out about local threats, including firefly tourism. And of course, firefly tourism has an advantage that it brings economic benefits to local communities, but it can also harm fireflies by the loss and degradation of habitat that's needed by both the larval and adult fireflies, by the trampling of terrestrial stages, and by increased light pollution from tourist activities. A lot of waving. So in 2022, our group members got together again and published this review article detailing the surprising scope and popularity of firefly tourism all around the world, describing some of these impacts on firefly populations, and also sharing some best practice guidelines that can help make tourism less damaging to fireflies while also benefiting local communities. And I was really happy to attend, and I learned so much at yesterday's pre-symposium workshop on sustainable, responsible firefly tourism here in Mexico. So thank you for that. We also, Firefly Specialist Group members, do an awesome job of communicating with the general public. So our members have given not just one, not just two, but 3 TED Talks about fireflies. And together, collectively, these TED Talks have reached an audience of more than 1 million people worldwide. We also give interviews to print, online, and broadcast media, and these efforts have helped to raise awareness of firefly diversity, life cycles, and threats. Okay, so enough about the sidelights. Let's turn to our central task, which is illustrated by this species conservation cycle. Starting at the top with assess. What does this mean? Assessing a species conservation status uses a tool called the IUCN Red List. And I'm just curious to know how many people in the audience have ever heard of the Red List? If you could just raise your hand. Cool. Okay, so many of you know what this is. These assessments gather data that allow us to place each species into one of several categories that represent an increasing risk of going extinct in the near future. And as of 2025, more than 160,000 species of plants, animals, and fungi have been published on this IUCN Red List. Why is this tool so popular for conservation? So that is, why bother with the Red List? And the answer is because it's a powerful tool for biodiversity conservation. It is internationally recognized as a standard of extinction risk for each species. This analysis is supported by rigorous scientific evidence, and it allows us to prioritize and to catalyze conservation action at the national, regional, and local level. So, I'd like to give you an overview, a simple version of the Red List process. It starts with assembling all known existing data for a given species, whatever information we have at hand. That includes information about a species' population size and structure, its geographic range, its ecology, current and projected threats, population viability analysis. And all of this information is used to compare against a standard yardstick with quantitative thresholds. This allows us to sort each species into one of several categories. So, at or below a certain level, a species is placed into a category called least concern. This makes us happy because right now it means we don't need to worry about extinction of that species. Or perhaps near threatened. Not so great, but still doing okay. We might need to worry about it very soon, some cause for concern. Increasingly stringent thresholds are used to place species into one of these 3 threatened categories, representing increasing risks of extinction. None of these are good. Okay. So, I'd also like to give you really a quick glimpse of a little more complicated, realistic version of the red list process. This is obviously too much information. I don't expect you to read this, but the red list process is very well mapped out by the IUCN. And I wanted to also give you a quick glimpse of the quantitative thresholds that are used to distinguish the different threat levels of extinction threat. I know this is a lot. I just wanted to give you a quick look behind the scenes. Okay, so back to fireflies. Yay. According to Oliver Keller's global tally, over 2,600 species of fireflies have been formally described worldwide. So our long-term goal is to complete red list assessments for all of these, placing each of these into one of these categories. Up until now, we've completed global assessments for 150 firefly taxa. Yay! But it's only 5% of the total number of species. I'd like to tell you what we've discovered so far. So, about a third of these 150 species turn out to be least concern. We're happy about this. This includes these 3 species of European fireflies. About half of the firefly species that have been assessed so far fall into a category called data deficient, which means simply that we don't yet have enough information to be able to place them in one of these other categories. But about 20% of firefly species that have been assessed so far are categorized as threatened. It's important to remember that this is not a random sample of all 2,600 plus firefly species. But this is worrisome, right? Let's take a look at these threatened species in more detail. There are 14 firefly species worldwide that have been classified as vulnerable, including Phatinus palacciosi, which is a Mexican endemic, and I am looking forward to hearing a lot more about this species of firefly here in Mexico during this symposium. It also includes as vulnerable these 4 species of Pteroptyx mangrove fireflies, which are found in Southeast Asia. And Juan is going to be telling us more about the conservation planning that's going on right now to protect these species. In the next category, there are 12 endangered firefly species, including, we could go back for just a minute. Thanks. Including these in the US, in Hong Kong, and in Europe. And lastly, there are 3 firefly species that have been placed into the highest level of extinction threat, critically endangered. And this includes 2 species, critically endangered species of fireflies in Hong Kong, which are endemic and threatened by light pollution and increasing human disturbance. And 1 critically endangered species from the US, which is threatened by the loss of its coastal wetland habitat. And so, you can clearly see that our long-term goal of red listing all of the firefly species in the world is a work in progress. But I am optimistic. We are continuing to do red list assessments in all of these places where the number of assessments that we have done so far are shown in parentheses. So those places are continuing. In a number of other places, we are beginning red list assessments in Brazil, in the Middle East, and also in Australia. And we have what I have called here our sparks of hope. And so these are several places in the world where people are gathering and beginning to wonder what firefly species are here, collecting information on the fireflies that occur in their region and people who are concerned about conserving and conserving those fireflies. So we clearly have plenty of work ahead of us that will keep us busy. And now I would like to thank my slide advancer, Juan, for working so hard on advancing the slides. And I would like to invite her up to help us travel around this cycle from red list assessments, what is next? And she's going to be talking to you about planning and conservation planning and conservation action.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias, selamat pagi. It's really an honor to be here. And again, I want to thank the hosts and the organizers of this amazing symposium. Thank you. And don't worry, my presentation will be quite short. I will spotlight some impressive initiatives led by members at both state and national levels, focusing on planning and conservation efforts. Okay, next, please. I think this is not the one. No, I think it is, this is. No, this is towards the end already. Oops. Yeah, okay. Okay, sorry, some technical issue, so we need, I think, about 5 minutes. Right, that's good. Okay, we are back. Thank you for your patience. Okay. All right. So in my presentation today, I'm gonna give you a bit more on the so we already hear from Sarah about SS. Now I want to highlight a bit more on the plan and act. Okay. Next, please. Because I cannot control from here. Next, please. Okay. All right. Let's start with global overview first. About I would like to emphasize on the three impressive project that or recognition. Let's start with Thailand has made great progress by recognizing Thraptis malaki, a vulnerable species, as an iconic species in 2025. And in Mexico here, efforts are underway to protect the vulnerable species Photinus palacciosi in 2025, following environmental guidelines aimed at protecting native species of Mexico forest flora and fauna. And in the United States, in 2024, there is a significant move to add the critically endangered Photuris battaniensis to the National Endangered Species List in 2024. Okay, next. Earlier, based on Sarah's presentation, you learned about three core components of the IUCN mission. I would like to say a straightforward way to recall, because it's quite technical, this component is by considering these questions. What was or what is there when we talk about species, what has been lost, and what must be safeguarded. After we assess species, we begin to contemplate what has been lost due to the need for, so there is the need for developing collaborative, inclusive, and science-based conservation strategies, plans, and policies. So planning is essential at this stage as it will inspire and mobilize conservation actions aimed at enhancing the status of firefly biodiversity. Next, please. Right, so today, I would like to showcase a significant initiative currently in progress called MyMAFCAP. It's a short for Malaysia Mangrove Firefly Conservation Action Plan. Over the next 10 years, very ambitious, our aim is to develop Malaysia's very first national action plan focused on the conservation and management of mangrove fireflies. Next, please. Why mangrove fireflies, you might ask? As previously mentioned by Sarah, we have assessed 4 Thraptis firefly species, and all 4 Thraptis species are vulnerable, and they are found exclusively in mangrove. Mangrove ecosystems are threatened with habitat loss, but on the bright side, as we all know, they are important ecotourism. They are ecotourism iconic species. Next, please. Let's take a closer look at mangrove fireflies. These fascinating insects, especially the adult of Thraptis species, emit their light while perched on specific mangrove trees species. In contrast, the immature stages, the egg, larva, pupa, they are found in areas that remain unflooded during high tide. Amazing, isn't it? Now, I would like everyone to take a moment to see how they are flashing at night. Could you please turn off the lights, and next, please. This is synchronous flashing fireflies, Thraptis stenna, in Kuala Selangor. Next, please. Next, please. So, as you can see just now, mangrove fireflies, they like to congregate on trees, which is why they are often referred to as congregating fireflies. But if you look at this map, congregating fireflies are found around here, but also not just in Malaysia, but also in mangrove regions of Southeast Asia. Next. But as mentioned again by Sarah just now, they are already vulnerable due to many factors, including sea level rise. Next, please. And then what vulnerable means is they are nearer to extinction. So we have to plan for conservation action. Next, please. But at the same time, I think we've been talking about this again and again. We are racing against time. Habitat loss is accelerating at an alarming rate. Entire population of fireflies can vanish in a blink of an eye if we continue to convert mangrove land into agriculture and other types of land use. Once it's gone for good, as demonstrated by this paper. Next, please. But one effective way, as Firefly Specialist Group, we found that to address the challenge in conservation planning is to embrace a more collaborative and inclusive approach. One strategy to achieve this is by promoting fireflies through art and culture. So this will help raise awareness about the significance of fireflies as part of our natural heritage. Next, please. Well, we have a long road ahead, but we are committed to advancing the assessment of red list species and working together with all stakeholders, including you, in our conservation planning effort. Next, please. So, to help us move forward into an exciting new chapter of collaborative conservation action for fireflies, we have exciting news to share. I would like to invite Sarah again and Karen to join me on stage.
For the first time, exciting partnership between the Walter Zoo, based in Switzerland, with Karen Federer, the director, who is here today, and the IUCN. The Walter Zoo is partnering now with the IUCN Species Survival Commission to form an entirely new thing, which is a new Center for Species Survival dedicated to fireflies. And we are hoping to launch this center in 2025. So, thank you. Thank you. So great. The mission of this center will be to do conservation planning for the threatened firefly species around the world, to coordinate global outreach to areas that are just beginning to recognize the importance of protecting their fireflies, and to promote the data collection, very, very important data collection by citizen scientist initiatives in different parts of the world. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Karen, for partnering and trusting us, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you all for your attention. Oh, wait. Do we have time for questions? Carlos? Okay, so we would be willing collectively to entertain questions from the audience, if you have any. Yes, Carlos. Oh,
could you give us more information about this Center for Species Survival?
In poster session, we will have a very nice poster Barry can tell you what we will do. And to be honest, step by step, we are still in it and try to find our main topics for the next 3 years. But come to the poster session, we will show you what we will do in the next years. Yeah.
Poster on Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday posters. She'll be there. Other questions? Daniel. Oop. Next one.
Is it my turn? Can you hear this?
Yes.
Paramount in conservation is to figure out how to raise these things so that they can be reseeded when it's possible. And I know that'd be very expensive, but I've tried and it's intractable. It takes more time, more expense, but we do need to figure out how to raise these things. What do you have to say in that regard?
Okay. So the question, Joe, if I'm correct, is about rearing fireflies in captivity in order to repatriate them into, hopefully, an existing native habitat that can support fireflies, or a restored habitat that can support fireflies. And I want to say two things about that. Yeah, you guys, you're welcome to. So one thing is that, yes, this is very important. And we have, luckily here, an expert in the restoration of firefly habitat and the repatriation of fireflies here from Taiwan is Dr. Wu, and he'll be giving a talk on, not today? Okay, later, tomorrow. And so I encourage you to learn more about habitat restoration, rearing fireflies from Dr. Wu. And the other thing I will say is that one of the goals not mentioned on this slide for the center is to come up with some guidelines for what the IUCN calls captive breeding or ex situ breeding of fireflies for different purposes in fireflies around the world. So yes, thank you for that question. Very important.
Hello, Sarah. Thank you so much for your presentation. I want to know, what about citizen science? You will be trying to do it around the world, because I'm actually trying to work with citizen science here in Tlaxcala. So what about around the world, and how we can get involved on that work? Thank you so much.
Yeah, here in Mexico, you've been doing an incredible job engaging even tourists in trying to keep track of the fluctuations in firefly abundance from year to year and at different sites. So thank you so much and congratulations on that work. It's been very, very impactful. And I think you might be leading the way and in lighting our way again in this. In terms of citizen science, what we're really, there'll be talks later to Richard later today, tomorrow, a talk about one citizen science, community science initiative in the United States, dedicated to engaging more people in keeping track of data on threatened firefly species and data deficient species. And in Europe, Rafael Decac has been getting lots and lots of people involved in citizen science in many different countries in Europe. And so, again, sorry, Karen, part of the mission of the new center will also be to try to bring these efforts together to hopefully kind of standardize methods for data collection, species identification in different areas. So stay tuned on that. We definitely have it high on our list of priorities, and recognize that the importance of not just firefly experts, but having many, many people in many, many places with their eyes wide open looking for fireflies. So thank you. Other questions?
Hi, thank you for your talk. It was wonderful. My name is Michaela. I'm a graduate student at Western Carolina University. And you mentioned earlier in your talk quantitative thresholds that you're using to categorize the threat level for species. I was wondering if you could further elaborate your methods on how you're obtaining the quantitative thresholds. I'm just a little bit unfamiliar with this process.
I think for this specific question, Vor, as a Red List coordinator, can you answer on behalf?
Thank you for your question. I think today it's not the time to explain in detail because it's really quite complicated. But as I know, are we going to have a workshop after the symposium?
Yeah.
Post symposium workshop doing this, right? Yeah, maybe.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did show, that was kind of a technical slide showing the quantitative thresholds. It's available, so the standard is developed by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, maybe in 1996, something like that, many years ago. And it's applied uniformly across all species of plants, animals, and fungi. And those thresholds involve collecting whatever data you have, particularly looking at extinction risk from the point of view of small population size, limited habitat, so habitat specificity is an important part of it, small geographic range, and population structure. So whether there are many subpopulations that are either connected or genetically isolated. Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to refer you to the IUCN Red List website, quantitative threshold summary sheet. Thank you for the question. Very important. That's it.
Let's give a round of applause.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay, we have the coffee break. It will be in the other auditorium where is which all the rest of the talks will take place. So we must, well, you can follow me and I'll take you there.